What's up, y'all? This your girl Jay Rene with Prison Ride Radio. I hope that you're doing well. This afternoon, we got brother Ajamu on the phone. All right, he is a real dope brother. Have been getting to know him over the last couple of months, and he got a lot going on, and he got a lot to share. So, this is gonna be a good one. What's up, bro? How you doing?
How you doing, Jay Rene? I really appreciate you giving me this moment in time out here in California, sending our love to you, sister.
All right, you know that we take the love and we appreciate it, receive it, and give it right back to you. Like I said, we got a lot to talk about, so I want to jump right into it. That's cool with you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so give the people, a little bit about yourself and where you're from.
Well, my name is Jay Burton, a.k.a. Ajamu. I am the founder of the Black Lives Matter Prison Chapter, also vice president of No Comrade Left Behind. I'm originally from Watts, California. I've been incarcerated for the past 33 years since I was 16 years old on a gang murder.
Okay. Before we get into the work that you've done, 33 years is definitely a lot of time to stand up on. How have you stayed motivated through this time?
That's a good question. But my motivation comes from, knowing I got people out there that's still waiting for me. But also knowing that, I've been put in position when I first came to prison. First and foremost, I was 16 when I was arrested back in 1989 for a gang murder that happened in a rival neighborhood. And I'm also a political prisoner based on the Los Angeles Sheriff Department police gangs that they got going on. Basically, I got caught in a cross in this case right here. And I know everybody in prison say they're innocent, but my situation is really that.
Right.
And I've been battling these people for the last 33 years just to get a fingerprint they said was on the gun. I never even seen this gun. And plus, I wasn't even at the crime scene. Right. I was just one of the names in my community that was happened to be a name that was coming up in the ranks of, the gang lifestyle as well as the drug dealing.
Right.
So if I'm guilty of anything, yes, I'm guilty of that. But this killing, I'm not guilty of that at all. Oh, excuse me, but you asked what keeps me going. What keeps me going is that when I hit these prison yards, I was a fresh 18 years old. I was up in Old Folsom back in the days, and there was a lot of militant brothers. And these guys was indoctrinating me with stuff that I'd never been indoctrinated with when I was on the street. Because when I was on the streets, I was indoctrinated with the gang culture, the gang mentality, which is basically opposite of that of a revolutionary. So, I was getting laced, and I didn't realize that these dudes was preparing me for the future. And preparing me for the future, it was getting me ready for a lot that most of us can't handle. Basically leadership roles. And being in a leadership role, it takes on, you have to be tolerant of all the stuff that's going to come along with being a leadership role. So what actually have got me this far is that I know a lot of people look up to me. And if I slip, then it's like a lot going to be held against me. And it's like, so I got to continue to push forward and stay strong for this. So that's some of the things that keep me going, as well as, my support system outside these walls.
Right, for sure. I can understand that. So let's talk about some of the things that you've created as far as, those that's, looking up to you and, you motivate them. I know that you are one of the founders of the Black Lives Matter Prison Chapter. Can you tell us more about that and how that got started?
Well, this started a little after the George Floyd thing, and you constantly seen it was bombarded on the news. All I would see is sisters and women of other races out there frontlining this thing against these oppressors. And I was wondering, especially in LA where I'm from, this is gang banging capital. I'm like, why is it that none of these gang members are out there frontlining with these people, these sisters and these other women that's fighting for us? And that bothered me. Every day I used to sit and tell my cellie, man, like, what's going on? Why is it that I don't see nobody out there that look like me? So what I did, I reached out to the founders of Black Lives Matter Los Angeles chapter, Dr. Melina Abdullah and Baba Akili. And when I reached out to them, I explained my how I felt about this. And they basically said, look, we're going to bring you to one of our onboard meetings, and, we'd like to hear what you want to say. And I explained to him, look, I want to start this Black Lives Matter prison chapter so we can start educating our men up in these prisons and getting them ready for them streets. So when they get to the streets, they basically know how to form a movement and how to get the community behind them, because they already got this type of mentality when it comes to the street stuff. Everything that's just bad. So I guess bad. We can make it turn into a good. So I said, look, we got to build our military, because our women are out there by themselves. And I want y'all to understand. This is why I'm talking to the Bloods and Crips on these lines. Bloods, Crips, Muslims. I got them all together. I said, well, we got to understand these women are out there fighting for us, and they have no military out there. We need to start forming that up in here and getting out there and start putting we call it usalama. That's Swahili for security. We need to start putting usalama on our people out there. We don't have to say nothing. We don't have to be a voice, but we got to be a presence. So people won't be trying to take them down, because right now a lot of organizations that's been frontlining, the feds watches everything. And then what they'll do, they'll start pitting each other, us against each other. So everything that we build, and we can also destroy at the same time. So that's what my whole thing was about, disciplining our men on these, not just men, but women as well, on these prison yards. So when they get back out there, they're going to also be a force to reckon with.
Right.
So
I love that idea, bro. And I love that you putting that together. So far, how is that working? Because I know that, you have some members and things. How's it working on towards the goal?
Well, actually, it has been surprising, because I've reached many people, not just in California, but in multiple states, all the way to the South, to the East Coast, to the Midwest. And it has taken effect. And what I do when I have these little meetings, either with their loved ones, or I have meetings with them who happen to have cell phones or prison phones, whatever you want to call it, when I start meeting these people, we are all happy. Some of them may be in their own little organizations, but we all come together and we all try to figure out a solution to what all of our problem is: liberation, whether it's mentally or physically. Because we can, just because I'm physically incarcerated, that doesn't mean that people who are out there on the streets are living better than me. Because I done ran into a lot of people that's out on the streets who's more incarcerated than I am. So the thing is, when I came with this Black Lives Matter prison chapter and I'm reaching out to other people, you got some that's joining us, and then you got some that's staying with their own organizations, but we all are coming together and networking for a common cause. That's just liberating our people and trying to find a way to do away with this judicial system that doesn't work for us.
Right. All right, for sure. Okay. We're going to have to definitely make sure we stay up with you on that endeavor. But tell us about the other one you said. I think it's No One Left Behind or something to that premise.
That's No Comrades Left Behind.
Okay.
NOCOMRADES. No Comrades Left, LEFT Behind, BEHIND.com. We even got the website on there. Now with the No Comrades Left Behind, now here's the thing. Okay, the Black Lives Matter prison chapter, that's the prison, that's our chapters within the prison. Although I have set things up for people on the streets that run our Black Lives Matter prison chapter on the streets, because we always need, an alliance with the street, because some people that may be getting caught up in the judicial system, we need people out there to help them. But now, the No Comrades Left Behind, that's more of it's not a nonprofit. That's more so to start helping the people out there who fresh out of prison, who've been caught up with the judicial system. We're going it's basically, when we put No Comrades Left Behind, it was more so to get everybody together to show that we're never going to forget those that we left behind these walls. Mm-hmm. So once you get out, you have some kind of resource. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. We have No Comrade Left Behind is about resources, about finding resources, trying to build a community, trying to get an economic structure built around that No Comrades Left Behind. That's what that's about. It's about empowering our people, and that's what No Comrades is Left Behind We also getting people from each coast, from the east to west, the north to south, and we're trying to bring everybody and see, with your organization, our organizations, all our organizations, come together and figure out how could we make this thing happen on an economic scale now. Because with that, we're talking about economics.
Right.
We're not just talking about prison. No, we're talking about economics. Because we got to better our communities. We know we need money. We know we need to find ways to open up new schools for not just our people, for blacks, but people who are suffering against this oppression. People want to get out of this oppressed system, and we can start building on our own economic and our own system that's economically friendly to us. You feel me?
Yeah.
What's Left Behind is a broader vision than what Black Lives Matter is. Black Lives Matter Prison Chapter, rather.
All right, and let the people know how they can link up with that again.
Well, you can go to our website on No Comrades Left Behind. It's NOCOMRADESLEFTBEHIND.com. And we also got the Black Lives Matter website as well. The Black Lives Matter Prison Chapter is BLM Prison Chapter.com. But we still working on that website. It's up though, but
okay.
You also and those that be looking out to want to communicate with me, I got Instagram at Freedom for Jay Burton, FREEDOM 4 JAYBURTON.
Okay, I'm gonna make sure I put it up too, so they can so they'll be able to see it. So let's get into your documentary, bro. You are working on a documentary. So, tell the people what it's about and, when it's supposed to come out.
Okay, I don't have an exact release date, but it will be within the next, I'd say, 3 or 4 months. Now, the name of the documentary is called God, Son, Buried Alive. God, G-O-D, Son, S-U-N. Now, I call it God, Son because God, as we know, or whatever we want to call the creator. We'll just say the creator. We know about the creator. It's the creator's son. Now, I am the son, the one who illuminates light. So that's why it's S-U-N, God's son. So I'm illuminating light on how not just me, but how I was buried alive. Mm-hmm. When I speak of buried alive, I'm talking about how they got me entombed in these prison cages for the last 33 years. How I sat in isolation units for almost a decade because I was becoming, as they say, too influential. But not in a bad sense, because when I was banging on the influential on these prison yards, they never really tripped. And I get caught up and I do something, go to the hole for a couple of months to get back out. But soon as I became educated and started educating the other guys that was under me, I don't want to use the word under me, but those that was with me, start educating abroad, and not just within my own sector of Bloods. When I start reaching the Crips, the Muslims, the Christians, and start educating them on a economic development and how to recognize what's going on with this oppressed system, so we can start getting ourselves, raising ourselves out of oppression. They locked me up for a decade. So it's about God's sons being buried alive. So they wanted to bury me alive because they wanted to break me, and they never broke me. And still, till this day, they've been still trying to break me. But at this point, 33 years, I don't think I'm gonna be broke. So the thing is, the documentary is gonna cover a broad spectrum of things, because I don't want it just to be about me. I want to be able to empower other people by me being caught up in the system for a murder that somebody else did. But for me to come to prison and realize my calling, I took that calling and it made it easier for me to do this time. Because if I didn't accept this calling, which is to help people and empower people, if I didn't accept that calling, I probably would have broke a long time ago. Because I done seen many people break and kill themselves. So the thing is, God's Son Buried Alive, it's going, I got people who sent their little things about what they know about me. People literally all over the world sent in tapes talking about how I mentored them and how they heard about my story, how I, made things a little more easier for them on the streets, because they realized, wait a minute, he's in prison. If he can go through all that in prison, I'm on the streets, then I shouldn't be complaining. Mm-hmm. So God's Son Buried Alive is from the stuff that we got right now, it's a pretty good story. And then, I done did multiple interviews. So it's going to have a lot of interviews where people communicate with me about interviews, about my stay in prison, about my upbringing. And also I have people who are in the advocate world who did radio interviews, TV interviews. They talking about me. So it's going to have a little bit of everything.
Okay.
But I always say that this isn't about me.
Right.
Because I know that my story isn't just my story. My story is a lot of people's stories. So I be getting people like this. I don't want to look like it's a black or white thing, because what affects us black folks, it affects white folks, Asian folk, the Latino community. It affects everybody, because anybody can get caught up the same way that I got caught up.
Right, you're right, bro. And we definitely gonna keep our eye out for it. Like you said, it's not just your story. It's a lot of stories of brothers and sisters across America that's going through the same type of thing. So bringing light to this injustice that's going on is definitely appreciated. We appreciate the work that you do for your people in our community.
Yes.
So, all right. So I want to ask you. I always ask everyone this same question, or a variation of it. So here it is to you. What advice would you give, a young man or a young woman that's coming in and they're facing a lot of time, especially for something that they didn't do?
I can answer that two-sided, because I want to even answer it for those that did do something. But those that didn't do nothing, first and foremost, we in our communities, we got to first we got to empower ourselves and start learning more about how these laws work, because most of us don't really understand anything about these laws. A lot of us, we know how to break the law, but we don't know how to repair the law, how to make the law work for us. Like, I'm gonna give you a good example. Like the guy who walked during the George Floyd protest. He walked around. His mama bought him from state to state. He got this gun. He got to killing up people. But he used the laws to work for him. That's why he was acquitted. Now, the thing is, we got to figure out, how do we use the laws to work for us? But first, let's talk about those that are innocent. That's one of the hardest things it's hard to fight a system when you're actually innocent and you have no resources. That's why we got in our communities, we got to start educating our communities and bringing our communities together. So when people are caught up in the judicial system, we can go to our communities. Our mother can go to the community, whether it's a church, a mosque, or whatever it may be, go to the communities and be like, look, my child is caught up in the judicial system for a situation that he or she didn't do. And the community got to come to these court hearings and start showing these judges and these DAs that they got support behind them. Mm-hmm. Because when you can show that you have support behind you, they are less likely to do what they're going to do to you anyway. Mm-hmm. You feel me? Because when you shine light on this system, because the thing is, they don't want the people to know what really goes on within this system, how they so corrupt. They don't care. At the end of the day, it's not about guilt or innocent when it comes to them DAs. It's about building their careers. And once people can start realizing that this is about building careers and lining pockets, then they see. But people got to see that it don't just affect the inner cities. It don't just affect black folks. Mm-hmm. It may not affect everything that you got going on with your children, but it's going to affect your pocketbooks. And everybody know that we need money to survive, and you always complain that they raise the taxes. They doing all this because they got a corrupt judicial system, and you always support the corruption and not realize that at the end of the day you're going to be affected some kind of way. Right. You're going to be affected. And then for those who are not so innocent that get caught up, the sad part about that is that they overcharge these people. So let's look at it from that standpoint. Okay, yeah, I may be guilty of something, but you done gave me 100 years for something that was only a 10-year crime. Right. I know a brother now that's the maximum on the charge was 5 years, and they got him in there supposed to do 12. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. And when I had a cellie about 2 years ago, they convicted me of a murder back in 89, 90. when I was 16, 17. And they gave me 30 years to life for that. Then I had this youngster in my cell. He was about 2 years ago. One of my little homies. He'd been down about 5 or 6 years. This man got a he robbed a pizza joint type thing. Mm-hmm. Man, they gave this man 100-some years of life for robbery. Yeah. Nobody is hurt. Mm-hmm. So this is what I mean when a lot of times people be like they're innocent. A lot of times they are, when they say they're innocent, because sometimes they be talking about, look, I came for this type of crime that carries like 5 years, but I'm sitting here with 80 years. Right. Because they use gang enhancements, they use gun enhancements, they use all these enhancements. And here it is. One thing about, I don't support the activities of what gangs do when it comes to the negative things. But here it is, this man committed this crime, and they gave him gang enhancement and everything, and there was nothing about his gang that was involved with him robbing a pizza store. Right. But they said, well, you're a gang member, and we're going to give you an extra 70 years because you're a gang member. Now, keep in mind, we got to understand our constitutional rights. First of all, it's not illegal to be a gang member. It's illegal to do that once you commit crimes. Mm-hmm. But if there was a law saying that just because you're a gang member we can arrest you, they need to start arresting KKK dudes, because they the worst gang, and a lot of they police officers. These are some of the 2 worst gangs in America.
Facts, total facts, bro. So, is there any words that you want to leave the people with before we call this one to a close?
Well, I just want my people to understand that, there are a lot of us in these prisons, whether we're guilty or innocent. We as a people got to come together and start understanding our rights, so we won't be screaming for the next century, for the next decade, that the judicial system doesn't work. And of course, this judicial system doesn't work for us, so I'm an abolitionist. I believe in abolishing this system, because you cannot reform a system on a corrupt seed. You got to deroot that seed and plant a whole new seed. We all need to come together and figure out what's going to work for our people, so our grandkids won't get caught up in this same rat race that, we're caught up in. And a generation before me and a generation before them, people done fought and gave their lives up for something. And what we're doing today, it seems like we're just countering everything that they done did. So now it's time for us today. If you didn't know, now you know. It's time for us today, after you hear this. We got to come together and start building and stop destroying our communities, our people, especially our women, because our women has been the strongest force in the world since the beginning of time. And without them, there's not going to be any us anymore. So I ask that, especially Bloods and Crips, because this is I'm a part of that. But I don't ever want to be guilty no more for being a part of that when I had a voice and I didn't use my voice in the right way.